loneliness about it. It's how do you say crushing? Spending a lot of time where I'm just by myself with no one else to talk to. It's much more easier in a way to sort of work through thoughts, I suppose. But it's also sort of it's like an echo chamber, really. You know, you kind of just flood yourself with your own thoughts and all the things that you've done through the day, and all your regrets and all your shames, and how, man, I really wish I could have gone and eaten a burger today. Started the keto diet recently, and an experience, I suppose is the way of phrasing it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. It's not a bad thing. It's more of like a lot more work than I was hoping it would be. On two different senses. Number one, I had to figure out where I could, because I basically realized the majority of the places I eat are, you know, places that serve burgers, and that's about it. So it basically meant that when my diet no longer can have bread, that burgers were no longer part of the equation. Now, the thing is, I wasn't about to just simply say, okay, well, if I can't have burgers, then if I can't have buns, then I'll just remove the buns from the burgers. There's obvious reasons why I would not just do that. Number one, that sucks. Who the hell would want to eat a burger without buns? It's not a fun experience. Now, I know it's possible, but uh, you don't have as much in the sense of like what you're spending. You know, whenever I buy a burger, you know, sometimes I'll always remove the pickles because I fucking hate pickles. It literally is like the absolute worst way for me to experience a burger. I've literally had it where I've ordered a burger and I take a bite and then I could just immediately taste, oh! What the fuck? They were all just spawning there. I didn't want that to happen. What the hell? It's just, I feel like a bad person, but I was just killing them, and I killed myself. Yay! What was I saying? I want to get the most from the money I'm spending, and the most aggravating aspect about, you know, the keto diet is that if I basically, you know, if I'm buying food, but I'm just removing aspects of the food, like key aspects, I'm not really just going on the keto diet, I'm also, oh my god, the recording is because of the fact that I fucking got spam called. Oh, I picked up because it was from the same area code, but I guess that doesn't save me from anything. The thing about keto is the alternative. There's a place I like going called Pancheros. They make fantastic burritos. The problem is that with the keto, you can't have grains, so that takes out the flour and the tortilla. You can't have rice for the same reason, which is, you know, part of what I like about, you know, the fucking burrito. And probably worst of all, you can't even have beans. I can't have frijoles. Why the hell can I not have frijoles? It feels so sad not being able to just have, you know, these simple basic enjoyment. Um, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, and it really isn't. But it's sort of like shelling something that you like and just having the shell. It's not fun. It's not fun. Overall, it's not a bad experience, but I feel like I'm missing out on what I really enjoy out of a burrito, and just something to a wall. I know for yes. Not only is it, you know, like a lesser experience since I don't have the aspects of a burrito I genuinely enjoy. I'd say they kind of are filler, but it's like it's. And the tortilla is at Pancheros especially is absolutely fantastic. You know, it's very easy to say that, you know, you could just have the ingredients without the tortilla, but I killed the teammate. You can have a burrito you can have a meal without a tortilla. You know, that's fine. But that's the thing. Pancheros their tortillas are like one of the main reasons I go there because it's that amazing. Ultimately, the worst aspect is not just like how you're getting less. The worst part of it is just the fact that you still pay the same amount. You know? I'm not someone who concerns too heavily on the money I spend, but it's disappointing to me when I spend, the same amount that I would for this big-ass burrito for what is essentially not a big-ass burrito. Fuck off. And the second major thing is when you basically remove like the buns from a burger. Like I said, you can still enjoy it, but to me it feels like you have to make up for what's gone there. Not like you have to find a bun alternative, but it's like no longer can I just eat a burger. I have to then use that meal. I have to prepare the plate in a different manner. Something I came up with recently is basically just a beef patty, but with cheese and sauce on it. And it sounds so rudimentary, but it is genuinely a fantastic experience for what is essentially just a lackluster result of no longer having some of the greater parts of a burger. I could still have ground beef, but in a way that allows me to enjoy it, I suppose. Whatever. I'm likely gonna get play, and it's gonna be like the most disgusting thing ever. Let's just look at how it plays out. No? I literally have a recording of me literally just like... I don't get play of the game sometimes. This game literally is just like, oh, you got like a 6-kill feed. You killed 6 people rapidly. You could have shown that off to everybody. Nah. That wasn't impressive enough. I literally... Oh my god. I've literally had where my fucking play loses out to a throwing knife. I'm like, oh, you threw a throwing knife? Oh! Round of applause. Really the major aspect of having the keto diet is mostly just not having like easy sort of food to get, which sounds weird, but basically what I mean is that when I'm hungry and I feel like snacking, I'll go and grab something easy to consume. But the problem is that often it'll have carbs in it. It'll be like something sugary, it'll be something sweet, it'll be some stuff like that. Or even like fast foods to make. If I'm hungry and I'm like, you know what, I want to eat a sandwich. I can't eat a sandwich anymore. And it does not feel fulfilling to just put out like, here's some ham, here's some cheese, here's some lettuce. That's a fantastic meal. Like, no, obviously nobody's gonna fucking think that. Nobody's gonna want to look at that and say like that is a meal. So the obvious feeling that I get in the situation is that I can't really have that easy access to just a quick snack. Instead, a lot of it comes down to just having, more planned food, obviously, but it's not even just like, oh, I'm having to, think more accordingly to what I'm eating. It's just that instead of like being able to have something that is like ready and accessible, if I want to eat something, I actually have to like go through the process of cooking it. Like to prepare it, cook it. What was once like a 5-minute trip to the kitchen is now a 30-minute trip to the kitchen. And going to work, it's no longer, oh, I'm in the mood for this. It's now, what can I eat? I've basically just been eating salads, which to me personally it's not depressing, but it feels limiting because I always want more out of what I'm eating. I always want more than just the salad. I usually add some chicken nuggets because I can have a limited number of carbs. Limited amount of carbs. The whole diet is supposed to largely consist of fats, and so it's more of like this. I'm doing a low carb essentially, but I'm sort of working my way to just being entirely like this massively fat consumption diet. I've been meh at it mostly because I don't know how I should properly do it, but other than that, when I go out, there's not a lot of places you can go to and just simply say, hey, can you give me what is essentially the equivalent of as much fat in my mouth as possible? Thanks. Um, the obvious irritating aspect about it is just having this like complete sense of limited choices. I go to Wendy's, Burger King, and McDonald's, and the only thing I can think that is keto friendly is their salads, um, which is a bummer because they have so many other options. Maybe not ones I like. Wendy's definitely does, but it's the point that when I go to some place like Wendy's and I see the various different options they have, and the only thing I can basically look at is, oh look, they have 4 different types of salads, which apparently one's only because it's summer, and I wouldn't even want to eat. It has fucking strawberries in it. I don't like the thought of eating strawberries with chicken. I don't think it's bad. I just don't I don't want to try that. But other than that, it's not the worst experience. It's a limiting experience. And I say limited. Interesting parts about it entirely is the fact that I have been essentially forced to eat less. Before, I would eat these bigger meals and I would snack and such. That would just be how I sort of maintained it. Yeah, we're popping off. We're getting a bunch of kills. This is exactly what we needed. So we got 8 kills right off the bat, all mounted. That leaves us with just 22 more mounted kills. Okay. The obvious aspect about being on the diet is that it's put a lot more, thought into what I eat, which is obviously good. I'd say to an extent that's what people would have wanted for me in this situation. A lot of what you could easily say in a diet is it's better as long as you're eating less. Now, there's obvious problems, I'd say, with something like that, because people who think eating less is a good dieting trick. You're not supposed to eat less. You're supposed to eat in moderation. It's okay to eat, it's okay to eat. That's an important fact. But for some people, they think that the way to properly diet is, well, not to properly diet, but the way they think they have to lose weight is by essentially starving themselves. I came across somebody who was a very interesting case who persistently thought that she had to essentially starve herself. And I wouldn't say she was like this like super fit whatever, but she was not at all this like the way she made herself out to be. She built herself up to be this like, oh, fat, gross person. I got 8 kills at the beginning, and that was the only kills I got. Okay. She made herself out to be like this like fat, like completely beyond this weight. Obviously, she was anorexic. Obviously that's the circumstance. But even if she wasn't, the healthiest way is obviously not to just limit everything you eat. It's exercise. It's proper dieting. But that's how it can often end up being. People will view their circumstances and they say it's a problem that they need to solve, right? Or that that the solution to it is this extreme solution, right? I remember when I was, how old was I? I was like probably 13. I visited my dad over the summer, and uh, my dad's girlfriend at the time, now they're married. I wasn't really a big fan of her cooking. It was nothing against her, obviously. It wasn't like, I didn't like her, but my mom's a fantastic cook. I absolutely love her food. And what's very distinct about it is that I was not a fan of her cooking. Even now, I'd say that there are like aspects about it that I just can't enjoy. I'm not saying like she's a horrible cook or anything, but it's one of those things where, even to an extent, it might be like an acquired taste. But like the most pivotal point is that I did not really like her cooking, and I didn't really like eating her cooking. So when I'm basically in the circumstance where the only thing I can eat is her cooking, it put me off a lot of times. So for about, it was either a month or two, I can't remember how long we were there. So for at least a month, I basically ate considerably less. Now, I was pretty skinny at the time, but I went from being skinny to noticeably skinnier. I don't remember, how my appearance changed. All I remember is I got home, and like the immediate reaction from my family was, "Holy shit, you are skinny. Like, really skinny." Less of like I was starving myself, and more of I just wasn't eating, and I was still being active, So it was sort of this bad combination of I wasn't getting enough calories for the amount that I was using up, which obviously put me in a bit of a weird space. It wasn't bad, but it was very clear that I just wasn't eating as much as I should have. Ultimately, holy shit, hello, ultimate swing. Ultimately, what ended up happening was I ended up gaining weight as time went on. It was largely because of the fact that I was not very social. I didn't really make a lot of friends, and because of that, I didn't really go outside very often. And if you don't go outside, and you basically just get obsessed with the obvious recourse is something called weight gain. Basically, I just wasn't being anywhere near active as I should have been, and I was just spending all of my time inside playing video games. Did I get it? Okay, I got it. I'll try and get it. Oh my god! And I'm killed out of my spawn. People have wanted me to go on a diet for a long time. And even I've wanted to go on a diet for a long time. It's not like, I'm saying, oh, I need to go on a diet. It was somehow a completely new and elusive term to me. I was well aware that I needed to lose some weight, and I'm dying in my spawn, because that's how bad this game is. I can't even hit it. Oh my god. This challenge is so annoying because it's literally just, hey, use this weapon that is not designed to shoot things out of the sky, and use it to shoot things out of the sky. Well then. This is where we're at now. Being interested in this game from largely just comes down to the way to manage things like the skill-based matchmaking. The thing about skill-based matchmaking is that it's just irritating overall as a player experience, especially since I'm someone who likes to play a lot more casually. So to have something that essentially means that I'm kind of forced to have to deal with more tryhardy and sweaty circumstances, it's just not as fun to play this game as most other Call of Duty. It's not to say that it's bad or that it's ruined. It's a lot harder to have these consistent fun times in the game. Yeah. So, overall, that's not even the worst aspect about it. The worst aspect is that you basically get caught in lobbies, right? Where you just kind of cycle around like the same 3 lobbies because those are the only lobbies that are available to you. It's like, oh, you're in the skill ranking, so you're only going to play with these other people, which means you're also going to have to like not be able to pick other lobbies, which sucks. But on top of that, you can't select the map you want to play, so you're more likely to just get stuck on these maps that you don't enjoy. And even worse is that the game is supposed to it should prioritize connectivity. You know, the importance of that is that you don't want people to get into lobbies where they just have shitty connection. But this game has some of the worst connectivity of all time. Like, look at that. On average, you should have like a 20 ping. And this game is like, oh, the best we can give you is 40. You can't get anywhere lower than that. I have good internet connection. But I can't get good internet connection if lobbies are being composed of skill-based matchmaking. They refuse to change it. Specifically, Activision refuses to change it, and for a very simple reason: money. They want people to be able to get into this game and stick with this game. And if you're a bad player and you're dying a bunch, you don't want to stick with this game, right? So they put skill-based matchmaking for them, the trash players, who are the ones who aren't good at playing the game. Because of that, we're forced to deal with that. We're forced to have to play around that. I wanted to play very casually for the longest time, but because of the fact that I've gone for Damascus, I've basically just been pushing myself to not enjoy this game. You know, I'm not saying I hated every bit of it, but I'm not going to say I enjoyed it either. I'm not saying that I'm having fun and that the game is all of a sudden just an enjoyable game just because, you know, I'm not using bad weapons. I'm not using the weapons I want to use. I'm not experimenting. I'm not doing something that I specifically want to do. It's more of just because I want Damascus, I'm forcing myself to use these weapons that I genuinely don't enjoy. It's just been hard to enjoy playing video games as of late. This has always been a constant thing, you know. Every game I play has had some level of infuriating. There's always some infuriating aspects to the game. And it genuinely makes it irritating when all you want to do is just have fun. When all you want to do is play the game how you enjoy. How the fuck? Okay. I want to have fun, you know, I want to be able to get on this game and enjoy every aspect of it, but I can't. Most of the games I play, I can't enjoy it, you know. And obviously, you know, I struggle with my anger management, but even still, you know, there are so many reasons why it's infuriating. Playing a competitive game is infuriating because of, you know, the people you're forced to play with. And games like this, it's infuriating because of the people you're forced to play against. I want to be able to relax and enjoy myself, and I can't. Everything becomes this really sweaty and annoying situation, especially with how this game works. This is probably one of the worst in any Call of Duty game, and it's something that people have made adamantly clear. It's not something at all that they are, you know, used to. They know how bad the spawn logic is in this game. And it's something that genuinely is avoided. What's the word?
Friendly precision airstrike on the
Is
way.
kind of it's something that feels almost impossible. You know, an aspect that just doesn't make any sense. I don't get why the spawn logic works the way it does in this game. Because it's not really spawn logic. If anything, it's more just this is where you spawn now. I got shot in the back of the head. And what makes it infuriating is all these little things just add up. They pile on top of each other, one after another. And it just makes a bad gaming experience. The whole point of games is that you're supposed to be able to have fun. And I just can't. And I don't know. I want to be able to play more of this game. I want to be able to have fun. I think just the hardest part about it is just is not having people to play with. I know if I had friends to play this game with, I'd have a lot more fun. But none of my friends will want to play Modern Warfare. No, and I don't fucking blame them. I mean, I want to enjoy this game, but I understand fully how dumb this game is and how absolutely infuriating it is to play this game. So I can't really say, oh, why don't you guys want to fucking torture yourself with this game? Like, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll be able to enjoy this game a lot more. It's always the hope that it's just like tear through it, that you can just enjoy at least the aspects that are fun. And that, for the very least, the other things that are, I don't know. I'm tired.